If you're preparing for the IELTS speaking test and you want a band 7, 8, or 9, then this video is for you. Today we're actually going to go through some sample IELTS speaking part 2 cue cards with answers. These cue cards are actually taken from real tests and shared by students who recently took the exam. I'll guide you through the top 10 cue cards and how exactly to prepare your answer in 1 minute. And I'll actually give you a sample band 9 answer for each question. So if you're ready to boost your IELTS speaking skills, let's get started. Assalamu alaikum, ladies. Before we jump into this video, I want to just tell you how exactly it's going to work. You can simply just watch this video and enjoy, or you can make the best of it if you are a serious candidate and want to score that high band. So if you are serious, I want you to pause the video when the cue card appears. Use 1 minute, literally use your phone timer. Use 1 minute to prepare your answer just like the actual test. So I want you to then set a timer for 2 minutes and record yourself on your phone responding to the question. And then what I want you to do is listen to your response and compare it to the band 9 sample I give you in this video. And remember, the goal here isn't for you to have the same answer as this band 9 answer. Rather, it's about how exactly you've structured your response and how you could make it sound a bit more fluent. This is actually going to help you identify your strengths and your areas of improvement. So if you're ready to give it a shot, let's get into it. So the first question was, talk about a time you received good news. What was the news about, why it was good news, and how you felt? So here's how I plan my answer in that 1 minute. The good news was my husband got his new passport. Why it was good news? Because it allowed us to travel freely without worrying about visa issues. And how I felt about it was I was excited. And how I felt about it was I was excited because it opened up new opportunities for us. I received fantastic news last year right before the Christmas holidays. My husband had received his Canadian passport, which was so exciting. This might not seem like a big deal for many, but for us, it was life-changing. As someone who is a Canadian citizen myself, it took years for him to get his documents. Without it, we were actually limited to traveling to his home country and just visiting different parts of the world. To celebrate this, we actually booked a trip to Portugal so that way we can enjoy all the times we missed because of him not having his passport. It was truly a special moment because this marked new adventures for me and my family. So let's move on to the second IELTS speaking cue cards question. Describe an outdoor activity you recently tried. What was it, how it was, and why you chose it? So here's exactly how I would prepare my answer for 1 minute. So I would literally just write a few points. So what it was, hiking in the mountains, when and where it happened. It happened in Vancouver, British Columbia, and why it was memorable, because I discovered new hiking trails. So have a close listen on this band 9 response. An outdoor activity I recently tried with my children was hiking through the mountains of beautiful British Columbia. At first, I was a bit hesitant to take my children to a place that was so highly elevated. However, after experiencing the beautiful scenic views, this was so breathtaking and such a memorable trip for both myself and my children. I was amazed by all the beautiful areas we were able to stop and see along the way. We saw so many bears from a distance which was so scary at the same time, but so beautiful. It was incredible, yet a bit bittersweet, because this was the first time I was actually hiking as a family with my children. I was so inspired by the experience that when I came back to Ontario, I booked our flight back to British Columbia sometime in the summer. So I'll continue showing you how to prepare your answers for the cue cards question. But what I want you to remember is your answers do not need to look like anything like mine. My notes are the way it's going to help me memorize what to say, and your notes will help you memorize what to say. They just need to be structured clearly and concisely, just the way it's written on the cue card. Let's move on to the next question. Describe a time your travel plans were canceled. What happened, how you handled it, and where you were going. So this is how my cue cards would look. Road trip to Montreal, how you handled it. I was upset, but I knew it was God's plan. And who was going? I was going with my family. So recently, our road trip to Montreal was canceled. We live about 6 hours drive to Montreal, and I was really hoping to spend the weekend there with my family. However, the morning we woke up to drive to Montreal, we realized that something was wrong with our car. There was lots of noises coming out of the exhaust, and we were just wondering what exactly the issue was. I knew that this was God's plan of telling us maybe He was protecting us from something bigger. So even though I was a bit upset, I knew to stay positive in this particular event, and I knew that I can go sometime in the future. And speaking of practice, ladies, if you're looking to join a community where you will be able to practice your speaking, then you might find my IELTS Speaking Ladies Club really interesting. This ladies club is actually hosted over Zoom. I actually teach you ladies. We go over different IELTS speaking mock tests. I give you feedback, and I give you any suggestions, tips on anywhere I think you can improve on. If you are interested in this ladies club, make sure you join down below. I've made it specifically for those of you who are stay-at-home moms, who have lots of responsibility of taking care of your children, and maybe you want to learn English from home and you want to become that confident English speaker. Check the description box down below. So I want you to have a careful listen at the fourth cue card question, which is describe a person you'd like to work with. Who is it, why you admire them, and what you'd learn. This is how my 1-minute notes would look. So the person I'd love to work with is somebody by the name of Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban is actually an entrepreneur and probably one of the richest entrepreneurs out there. He's actually the owner of a few NBA teams, which are basketball teams, and I'd be honored to work alongside him because I know that he would teach me so much about the business world and how exactly to run a successful business. One thing in particular he'd probably help me learn is how to strategically think and how exactly to target customers. Working with him would actually be an opportunity and make a meaningful impact. So let's move on to the fifth cue card question. Talk about an unusual meal you've had. What the meal was, why it was unusual, and how you felt. So here's exactly how I would outline my 1-minute answer, and have a close listen at this band 9 response. So one meal I had accidentally, I would say, is calamari. I remember a long time ago when I visited Brooklyn, New York, a cousin of mine told me, let's go out to eat. When we arrived to the restaurant, he had ordered a lot of different appetizers and a lot of different meals. He surprisingly offered me some calamari, and I had no idea what it was at the time. So I decided to take a bite out of it, and I told them, wow, this is so delicious. What did you order? And little did I know that that was octopus legs, and I had no idea. I felt disgusted after he told me what it actually was, but I actually really enjoyed it because it was so tasteful, and that was my unusual meal that I would have never ordered if he left it up to me. So we're halfway there. Let's look at the sixth cue card question. Describe a law you find important. What the law is, why it's important, and how it impacts you. So this is a very challenging question, I would say. Here's exactly how I would plan out my 1 minute to discuss this topic. So have a careful listen at the sample band 9 answer. One law I deeply value is copyright law. Copyright law actually protects artists, creators, and authors from having their intellectual property being used. As someone who creates content online, I think it's so important to have this type of law because you never want someone to take your work and they get the credit for it. And this also prevents others from actually copying my blog posts, my YouTube videos, and any articles I write. Although I think this enforcement could be improved, I really appreciate how platforms like YouTube are able to detect this type of use very quickly. Copyright not only supports creativity, but it also upholds any fairness in the digital age. And let's move on to the seventh cue card question, which is describe a place you'd like to visit for a short trip. So here is a sample 1 minute outline for this particular question. A place I'd love to visit for a short trip is Banff, Alberta. Oh my God, I've lived in Canada for over 35 years, but I'm ashamed to say that I've never ever visited Banff. Banff is known for its beautiful scenic views, mountainous views that have beautiful snow and beautiful parks. One park that I really want to visit is Banff National Park. This park is known for its stunning picturesque areas and also your ability to canoe in the beautiful water. One reason I really want to go there is because I've seen so many blogs and videos on this particular area, and honestly, it's just breathtaking. Some other attractions I'd love to see there is staying in the Fairmont Hotel because apparently the view from the Fairmont to the mountains is just very beautiful. But because there's not much other things to do in Banff, I would only like to visit for a short amount of time, maybe 3 to 4 days maximum, just to see the area and all the beautiful scenic views. And guys, we're almost there. Let's look at the eighth cue card question. Describe a memorable person you've met. Who the person is, why they are memorable, and what I've learned from them. So here's a sample outline of how I would spend my 1 minute. During my trip to Istanbul, Turkey, I actually met an 80-year-old man who told me that he swims for 1 hour every single day. I thought this was amazing, especially because you don't meet much 80-year-olds who are able to swim for that long of a period. He was very memorable and respected, not only because his swimming abilities, but just because his discipline and how he showed up to the pool every single day. This is one thing I really admire is people who are routine oriented and disciplined in what they do. One thing I learned from this 80-year-old man is to always keep healthy and to stay active by doing something every single day, whether it's swimming or walking. Meeting him actually made me reflect on my own life choices and how exactly I show up to what I do every single day. So practicing with real IELTS speaking cue cards is one of the best ways to improve your English. So what I want you to do is choose one of these cue card questions and write your answer below so I can help you improve your English. And oh yeah, don't forget to check out this video where I show you exactly how you can deliver your answers to score a band 7, 8, or 9 in IELTS speaking.